Hello and welcome to the Welsh Mountain Zoo, the National Zoo of Wales. I invite you to discover and learn all about our diverse animals. Where do they come from? What do they eat? How are they cared for? What's life like for animals in the wild? Presenting an alternative insight into the lives of our animals, a chance to get to know the keepers who care for them. We'll be making sure that you're clued in on what there is to see, as well as offering a fresh perspective of the creatures up close and personal. You have the inside track of the amazing work that is being done. Prepare for your ultimate visual guide to the zoo.
Well, my name's Caroline. I've been a keeper here at the Welsh Mountain Zoo for the last 4.5 years, and one of the species that I work with here are the Californian Sea Lions. Well, Californian Sea Lions are from the west coast of North America, the south of Alaska, all the way down to Mexico, and including the Gulf of California as well. So they have quite a wide range along that coast. Well, my interactions with the animals are actually quite substantial because I'm a trainer as well. So we train our felines for husbandry behaviours, and husbandry behaviours are health checks primarily. So we'll be checking their flippers and checking their eyes and their ears and their mouths. So my interaction is really quite hands-on with them because they learn very similar to the way that dogs learn in that way. So we use positive reinforcement techniques. We give them lots of treats when they do something correct, and we use that. So they get a lot of enjoyment from that too. And I think it just helps us keep them happier and healthier in the long run because we can keep on top of illnesses as they arise. Well, we feed them primarily Baltic herring. They love it, but in the wild they can have all sorts of different types, crustaceans and squid, lots of different types of small fish mainly, and we'll supplement their diet with different types of fish as well. But particularly with our sea lions, they are very engaging animals, so they do keep you on your toes and keep you guessing all the time. And Rooney in particular is possibly the most flatulent animal I've ever encountered. And during one of the displays, I was demonstrating how we check the hind flippers. I had both of the hind flippers in my hands when she let out a massive fart, and it was so loud that the microphone picked it up and the whole audience could hear it as well. So, and the smell lasted a little bit longer as well. So I find those sorts of stories particularly good. They are very social animals anyway. In the wild, the males can have a harem of up to 15 females that they'll breed with during that breeding season. And in captivity, it is very similar as well. So we have 3 females to 1 male, and when he's fully grown, at the moment he's a juvenile, so he's not really establishing much of a territory. But when he's older, then he will be boss of the group, and the girls will have to follow suit. He hasn't quite reached the stage where breeding will be 100% guaranteed yet, but hopefully, fingers crossed, when Casper comes of age, he'll be providing us with some lovely pups.
Red pandas come from the forests of the Himalayan mountains, found across India, China, Bhutan and Nepal.
Out in the wild, they eat mainly bamboo.
There's been a lot of debate to the classification of red pandas over the years, as scientists look deeper into their genes, drawing new conclusions.
But I think at the moment they're in their own family, but they're allied to the raccoon and the mustelid family.
The red pandas use their tongue to taste the air much the same way that snakes do. They rely on a sense of taste in this way to communicate with one another and to navigate the forests. Here we can see them marking their territory with their scent glands.
When we go in there to either clean the beds, to put the food in, or just to generally tidy the enclosure, the male will stay up in the tree and he'll watch what we're doing. I mean, he's curious, but he won't come down and see what we're doing. whereas the female, she's more curious, and she'll come down and she'll take bamboo off you if you're in there with bamboo. But I mean, she'll also come down as soon as you've put the food dish in there. So she'll get within a couple of foot of you, so she's not too bothered by your presence in the enclosure, which is quite nice.
They often stand on their hind legs to make themselves larger and more intimidating.
Pandas are endangered in the wilds due to habitat loss.
Deforestation as a result of woodland being transformed into terraced rice fields is partly responsible for destroying the panda's natural habitat. They are also hunted in the wild by large predators, such as the clouded leopard, as well as human beings.
People will still poach them, they'll make hats out of them, and I think at one point in time they use their tails as sort of like feather dusters.
Female red pandas are only receptive for a single day of the year, making breeding in the wild difficult. After successful copulation and a 5-month pregnancy, red panda cubs are born. However, they have a hard time growing up, often not reaching 1 year of age. In light of this, our red pandas are part of a global breeding program as an effort to conserve this endangered species. With our help, it's hoped that red pandas can be saved from the threat of extinction. Enter the exotic world of the Reptile House, where you'll find slithering snakes such as the Burmese python and the boa constrictor. See the terrapins and the snapping turtles splashing in their pool.
Well, we do have a heating system in place. The heating runs through all the enclosures, so which keeps the temperature all the time.
Across from them is a vivarium full of active tortoises. So what's the difference between turtles, terrapins and tortoises? Well, they have a few things in common. They're all members of the Chelonian order. This comes from the Greek word chelon, which means interlocking shields, or armor. Of course, there's a referring to their tough shells which protect them from harm. Tortoises spend the vast majority of their time on land and will only occasionally submerge themselves in water to drink or clean. Turtles, on the other hand, spend most of their time in the water, with some species only coming on land to lay eggs. You can see the zoo's snapping turtle hiding in the deep end of the pool. Terrapins is a word used to describe semi-aquatic turtles. They divide their time between living on land and swimming in the water. They can be found in exotic marshy areas. The Burmese python is the Reptile House's biggest snake, and also one of the 5 largest species of snake in the world.
As I said, yeah, it takes 5 people to carry the Burmese, and unfortunately I used to be able to lift her myself. I now can't. She's got so big since I've been here over the 6 years that I can't lift her myself. Probably about 5 foot since I've been here, I'd say, because she's roughly, let's say, 16 foot now. She needs measuring again.
The Welsh Mountain Zoo's Seal Rescue Rehabilitation Program works to save injured or abandoned grey and common seals who are in need of a helping hand. It can be hard to tell the difference between common and grey seals.
So I've got 3 in at the moment. One is a common seal, and they're not that common around this part of the country. You find them more up Scotland and down, so like Norfolk, South England way.
Common seals are smaller, growing to 1.7 metres with nostrils which meet at the bottom into a V shape. If you take a look, you might be able to see one swimming in the rehabilitation pool.
And then I've got 2 grey seals. Grey seals you can see off Anglesey. You can see them off the 2 orms, the little orm and the big orm that we have over Llandudno way.
Grey seals are larger, growing to 2.5 metres. They also have parallel nostrils.
And when they're brought in for a variety of reasons. Some of the seals we've had in, they've been attacked by other seals, so they've got bite marks. Other ones that we've had in have been hit by jet skis, they've had propeller slash wounds in them. Other ones we've had in where there's been nothing wrong with them, It's just that members of the public have seen them lying on the beach without their mum, thinking they've been abandoned, and then they've picked them up and either brought them to us or taken them to the RSPCA. And when they come in, we start off by tube feeding them. We tube feed them something that's called multi-milk, and this puts on the fat really quickly, just as their mother's milk would do. And then once they go from the multi-milk, once they've put on a couple of kilos and they're not as dehydrated as when they first came in, we then go on to force feeding them whole fish. And depending on how quick the seals learn, they either pick up eating whole fish themselves in a couple of weeks, or it can take a couple of months, so it does depend on the seals. Once the seals are eating on their own 3 times a day, anywhere between 10 and 40 fish from a dish, what we then do is we'll then put them out into our 2 pools that we've got out in the seal unit. The seals can then pick up on how to catch and eat fish.
Once they've regained their strength and are ready to survive on their own, the seals are carefully released back into the ocean from North Wales coastline. These 2 seals are being released from Penryn Bay.
We'll tend to their injuries, put the weight back on them, we'll give them a small tag in the back flipper, and then we will release them back into the wild. There are times when we've put the seals back out into the sea, and then the next thing we've seen them with fish like flatfish or sand eels, so it does work. It just gives them that second chance at life.